The llama. The llama is a domesticated South American camelid, widely used as meat and pack animal since the pre-Columbian era. Llamas are social animals and live with others in a herd. Their wool is soft. Llamas can learn simple tasks after a few repetitions. When using a pack, they can carry about 25 to 30% of their body weight for 8 to 13 kilometers. The name llama, in the past also spelled with one L or glama, was adopted by European settlers. The ancestors of llamas are thought to have originated from the Great Plains of North America about 40 million years ago, and subsequently migrated to South America about 3 million years ago during the Great American Interchange. By the end of the last ice age, 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, camelids were extinct in North America. As of 2007, there were over 7 million llamas and alpacas in South America, and over 158,000 llamas and 100,000 alpacas were imported late in the 20th century in the United States and Canada. In mythology, llamas are important beings. The heavenly llama is said to drink water from the ocean and urinates as it rains. The llamas will return to the water springs and lagoons where they came from at the end of time. Llamoids, or llamas as they're more generally known as a group, consists of different creatures, including alpacas and the domesticated llama. Some of the animals live in the wild, while llamas and alpacas existed only as domesticated animals. Although early writers compared llamas to sheep, their similarity to the camel was soon recognized. They were included in the genus Camelus along with the alpaca. They were, however, separated in 1800 under the name of llama, along with the guanaco. DNA analysis has confirmed that the guanaco is the wild ancestor of the llama, while the vicuña is the wild ancestor of the alpaca. The camelid lineage has a good fossil record. Camel-like animals have been traced from the past to the modern species back through very early forms. Their characteristics became more general, and they lost those that distinguished them as camelids. No fossils of these earlier forms have been found in the Old World, indicating that North America was the original home of camelids, and that the ancestors of the Old World camels crossed over via the Bering Land Bridge from North America. The formation of the Isthmus of Panama 3 million years ago allowed camelids to spread to South America as part of the Great American Interchange, where they evolved further. Meanwhile, North American camelids died out. Characteristics. A full-grown llama can reach the height of 1.7 to 1.8 meters at the top of the head and can weigh between 130 and 272 kilograms. At maturity, males can weigh 94 kilograms while females can weigh 102. At birth, a baby llama can weigh between 9 and 14 kilograms. Llamas typically live for 15 to 25 years, with some individuals surviving 30 years or more. The skull generally resembles that of Camulus, the larger brain cavity, and orbits the less developed cranial ridges, being due to its smaller size. The nasal bones are shorter and broader and are joined by the premaxilla. The ears are rather long and lightly curved inward, characteristically being known as banana-shaped. There is no dorsal hump. The feet are narrow and the toes are more separated than that of camels, each having a distinct plantar pad. The tail is short and fiber is long. It's also woolly and soft. In essential structural characteristics, as well as in general appearance and habits, all the animals of this genus very closely resemble each other, so whether they should be considered belonging to one, two, or more species is a matter of controversy among naturalists. The question is complicated by the circumstance of that the great majority of individuals that have come under observation being either in completely or partially domesticated state. Many are also descended from ancestors that have previously been domesticated, a state that tends to produce a certain amount of variation from the original type. The four forms commonly distinguished by the inhabitants of South America are recognized as distinct species, though with difficulties in defining their distinct characteristics. These are the llama, the alpaca, the guanaco, and the vancuya. The llama and alpaca are only known in the domesticated state and are variable in size and of many colors, being often white, brown, or piebald. Some are even gray or black. The guanaco and vancuya are wild. The guanaco is endangered. It has a nearly uniform light brown color, passing into white below. The guanaco and vancuya certainly differ from each other. The vancuya is smaller, more slender in its proportions, and has a shorter head than the guanaco. The vancuya lives in herds on the bleak and elevated parts of a mountain range bordering a region of perpetual snow, amongst rocks, occurring in various suitable locations throughout Peru and in the southern part of Ecuador. Its manners are vigilant, wild, and timid. Vancuya fiber is extremely delicate and soft and highly valued for the purposes of weaving, but the quantity that each animal produces is small. Alpacas are primarily descended from wild vancuya ancestors, while domesticated llamas are descended primarily from wild guanaco ancestors, although a considerable amount of hybridization between the two species has occurred. Differential characteristics between llamas and alpacas include the llama's larger size, larger head, and curved ears. Alpaca fiber is generally more expensive, but not always more valuable. Alpacas tend to have a more consistent color throughout the body. The most apparent visual difference between llamas and camels is that camels have a hump or humps and llamas do not. Llamas are not ruminants, pseudo-ruminants or modified ruminants. They do have a complex 3-compartment stomach that allows them to digest lower quality, high sucrose foods. The stomach compartments allow for fermentation of tough foodstuffs, followed by regurgitation and rechewing. Ruminants, cows, sheep, and goats, have 4 compartments, whereas llamas only have 3 stomach compartments. In addition, the llama and other camelids have an extremely long and complex intestine. The large intestine's role in digestion is to reabsorb water, vitamins, and electrolytes from food waste that is passed through it. The length of the llama's colon allows it to survive on much less water than other animals. This is a major advantage in arid climates where they live. Reproduction. Llamas have an unusual reproductive cycle for a large animal. Through the act of mating, the female releases an egg and is often fertilized on the first attempt. Female llamas do not go through heat. Like humans, llama males and females mature sexually at different rates. Females reach puberty at about 12 months old. Males do not become sexually mature until around 3 years of age. Mating. Llamas mate in a lying down position, similar to big cats and canines, which is fairly unusual in a large animal. They mate for extended time, 20 to 45 minutes, also unusual in a large animal. Gestation. The gestation period for a llama is 11.5 months, or 350 days. Dams, female llamas, do not lick off their babies, as they have an attached tongue that does not reach outside the mouth more than half an inch. Rather, they will nuzzle and hum to their newborns. Behavior. Llamas that are well socialized and trained to halter and lead after weaning are very friendly and pleasant to be around. They are extremely curious, and most will approach people easily. However, llamas that are bottle-fed or overly socialized and overly handled as youth will become extremely difficult to handle when mature, when they will begin to treat humans as they treat each other, which is characterized by bouts of spitting, kicking, and neck wrestling. Llamas have started showing up in nursing homes and hospitals as certified therapy animals. The Mayo Clinic says animal-assisted therapy can reduce pain, depression, anxiety, and fatigue. This type of therapy is growing in popularity, and there are several organizations throughout the United States that participate. When correctly reared, llamas spitting at a human is a rare thing. Llamas are very social herd animals, however, and do sometimes spit at each other as a way of disciplining lower-ranked llamas in the herd. A llama's social rank in the herd is never static. They can always move up or down in the social ladder by picking small fights. This is usually done between males to see which will be dominant. Their fights are visually dramatic, with spitting, ramming into each other's chests, neck wrestling, and kicking, mainly to knock the other off balance. Females are usually only seen spitting as a means of controlling other herd members. One may determine how agitated a llama is by the materials in the spit. The more irritated the llama is, the further back into each of the 3 stomach compartments they will try to draw materials to form its spit. While a social structure might always be changing, they live as a family and do take care of each other. If one notices a strange noise or feels threatened, an alarm call, a loud, shrill sound, which raises and falls, is sent out to all others and become alert. They will often hum to each other as a form of communication. The sound of a llama making groaning noises is often a sign of fear or anger. Unhappy or agitated llamas will lay their ears back, while ears being perked upwards is a sign of happiness or curiosity. An orgle is a mating sound of the llama or alpaca, made by a sexually aroused male. The sound is reminiscent of gargling, but with a much more forceful, buzzing edge. Males begin the sound when they become aroused and continue throughout copulation. Guard behavior. Using llamas as livestock guards in North America began in the early 1980s, and some sheep producers have used llamas successfully since then. Some would even use them to guard their smaller cousins, the alpaca. They are used most commonly in the western regions of the United States, where larger predators such as coyotes and feral dogs are prevalent. Typically, a single geldling, castrated male, is used. Research suggests that use of multiple guard llamas is not as effective as one. Multiple males tend to bond with each other rather than with livestock and may ignore the flock. A gelded male of 2 years of age bonds closely with its new charges and is instinctively very effective at preventing predation. Some llamas appear to bond more quickly to sheep or goats if they are introduced just prior to lambing. Many sheep and goat producers indicate a special bond quickly develops between their lambs and their guard llama, and the llama is particularly protective of the lambs. Using llamas as guards has reduced the losses to predators for many producers. The value of the livestock saved each year more than exceeds the purchase costs and annual maintenance of a llama, although not every llama is suited to the job. Most are viable, non-lethal alternative for reducing predation, requiring no training and little care. Fiber. Llamas have a fine undercoat, which can be used for handicrafts and garments. The coarser outer guard hair is used for rugs, wall hangings, and lead ropes. The fiber comes in many different colors, ranging from white or gray to reddish brown, dark brown, and black. History of domestication in the United States. Llamas were first imported into the U.S. in the late 1800s as zoo exhibits. Restrictions on importation of livestock from South America due to hoof and mouth disease, combined with lack of commercial interest resulted in the number of llamas staying low until the late 20th century. In the 1970s, interest in llamas as livestock began to grow, and the number of llamas increased as farmers bred and produced an increasing number of animals. Both the price and number of llamas in the United States climbed rapidly in the 1980s and 1990s. With little market for llama fiber or fur in the US and the value of guard llamas limited, the primary value of llamas was breeding more animals. A classic sign of a speculative bubble in agriculture. By 2002, there were almost 145,000 llamas in the U.S., according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and animals sold for as much as $22,000. However, the lack of any kind of market for the animals resulted in a crash in both llama prices and the number of llamas. The Great Recession further dried up investment capital, and the number of llamas in the U.S. began to decline as fewer animals were bred and older animals died of old age. By 2017, the number of llamas in the U.S. had dropped below 40,000. A similar speculative bubble was experienced with a closely related alpaca, which burst shortly after the llama bubble.